So I'm in New York right now, and one of the first things I did when I got here was go art supply shopping. I think this is going to be the first of many art hauls, or not too many. The Australian dollar's pretty pathetic at the moment, so that's curbing my spending, but there'll definitely be other art hauls. But my first stop was Blick's Art Supplies. It's a store I've heard so much about. I was expecting it to be like super cheap, the cheapest art shop around. I found that wasn't so. With like some of the things were really cheap. Some were more expensive than what I pay for them in Australia, and usually in Australia prices are pretty high. So yeah, it was quite interesting to be able to compare the prices like that. Even so, I did manage to pick up a few things, of course, and had fun exploring the store. It was interesting. The staff were very sort of hovering around, which is something I'm not used to shopping in Australia. I'm not sure if that's more common in the US. Made me a bit uncomfortable, but it was also good. Like at one stage, I had a bunch of pencils in my hand, didn't want to put them in the shopping basket in case they fell out, and one of the lovely staff members was happy to run up and get me a snap block bag to put them in. So I guess there's good and bad to having that sort of staff presence. The other thing I didn't like, especially with things like markers and pencils, is all the stocks available for testing. And to me, that's kind of like, I don't want to buy a luminance pencil that people have been playing with in the store. They might have dropped, they might have broken the lead. I want to buy a marker that's been tested and it might not have as much inkiness as a fresh one that's unopened. So yeah, I was quite found that quite interesting that they do let people test the all the stock on display. Notebooks, well, sketchbooks and paper I found to be quite cheap compared to Australia. It's yeah, one of those things I could spend a lot of money stocking up on, but I've also got to consider not just the cost, but the weight and the luggage space they'll take up. And yeah, not a lot of stuff that I couldn't buy at home, I couldn't buy in Australia, but still interesting to have a look around and see what they had. First up, I have, let's start with this guy. I really wanted to get some watercolor paper because I forgot to pack some. And so I ended up with the Stonehenge Aqua cold press paper, which I was tossing up between this and the Arche watercolor paper. I've never used the Stonehenge before, and the whole deciding point was that the Arche had 12 sheets in the pack, and this had 15 for the same price, so it's an extra 3 bits of paper. It's 100% cotton, acid-free, all the normal stuff. A4, I think, a little bit bigger than A4, because this sketchbook is A4. So yeah, just a small bit bigger, and white paper. So hopefully I'll get to test that out while I'm here. Next up, this isn't really a sketchbook as such, the Fabriano. It's the Ecoquar original, and it was in with notebooks. There were like, various notebooks, the rule pages and the dots. What do you call it? The dot pages that people use for bullet journaling. This was $6.65, A4 40 pages, made in Italy, of course. And yeah, so I grabbed one of these to try. Then next up, Pitt pens. I wasn't planning to buy Pitt pens, but as I was leaving the store, there was a whole bunch on a clearance table. So I thought, oh yeah, I'll grab some of those. They were $1.64 each, which is quite a bit cheaper than what I've normally paid for them. and they're always good to use. So let's swatch these guys. I'll do this on the front page. As good a place as any. So first up we have Cold Grey 4 SB soft brush, I think SB is. Now these should be the same colour as some of the other Faber-Castell. Faber-Castell have the same colours in all their different ranges, so you can match them. This is Warm Grey number 3. It's written in white on the lighter grey, so it's very hard to read. But that's, yeah, the warmer grey. And then the Warm Grey number 1, which I'm not even sure if you can see it against this paper. Very, very light. It'd be quite nice if you were doing just want to add a bit of tone to a sketch without having too much there. Just sometimes it's nice to distinguish between, like, this is white because it's white, not white because I didn't put anything on the paper. And then this one is Sanguine 188. And this is a fine liner. I didn't realise it was a fine liner. It's an S. Didn't realise it was a fine liner when I got it. But yeah, because I've been doing a lot of fine line drawings, sketches since I've been here. So it might be nice to just add a bit of spot colour to those with these. And this one is Middle Purple Pink. By the way, I just started filming this video and went to sit. I've got like a rolling stool here in my Airbnb, and we've got polished floorboards, and you can probably guess where this story is going. I went to sit on the stool and it slid out from underneath me. I said a lot of words that I would not be able to use on YouTube, and yeah, smashed my head against the stool on the way down, which wasn't good at all. Like, oh, I hope I don't get a concussion. Like, my one fear being in the USA is that I will need to go to a doctor and end up having to mortgage the rest of my life. I do have travel insurance, but yeah. So if I start slurring my words, it means I've got a concussion, and well, that will probably mean this video doesn't get uploaded, so you won't actually hear me slurring my words. So this is the Blick Studio in-house marker pen. I got one of these to try to see how it compares to the Faber-Castell ones. So that's the broad end, and this is the narrow end. So it's not like fine liner thin, it's like combo thin, I guess, yeah. And that cost me, I have to find the price on here now. The Stonehenge paper was $23.19, by the way. And this marker was $3.90. I'm not even going to try and convert that to Australian dollars or to any other currency. It's probably best just to, yeah, live in US dollars and let you work that out for yourself, because, you know, people come from so many different countries. This was an impulse buy, this pencil. It was on the counter, and I love me a magic pencil, so I couldn't resist. I don't know if you can see on camera, this is really hard to show, but instead of just having the 4 sections, it's got like just a heap of sections. So, and it's a bit fluoro. The other one I've got's not so bright, but this one, fluoro. The red doesn't seem to come out as much as the other colours, but yeah. So that was impulse buy of, can I find it? Magic pencil. Oh, it actually says there neon. $100, not $100, $1 $89, not $100. That would be far too much for a pencil. Speaking of, I was coming home from Manhattan yesterday after doing the sightseeing bus all around the city and was following the train route that Google Maps told me to go on would be the best way for me to get back here. I'm staying in Brooklyn, and yeah, I had to change trains just to go one stop. I had a conductor come along and she asked me if I had a ticket. I said, no, I don't. I didn't know I needed one. I thought I could just swipe my phone. Ended up being a $13 ticket. Like, it was a flat rate. I was only going one station, but no matter how many stations you were going, it cost the same. $13. I could have got an Uber cheaper than $13. So let's go with the next. I wasn't planning to buy this brush. I mean, I've been wanting a fan brush for my watercolors for a while, but I wasn't actually planning to buy one while I was here in the US. It's not something that I'd probably ever use for urban sketching, but more for in the studio. And I picked this up. I quite liked it. Feels really nice. It's a Cotman, the Winsor Newton Cotman range fan. And that was around $13, I think. Yeah, $12.99. Nice. And then finally, I got these guys. I've used the Derwent drawing pencils before, and I really like them, but there's something that I never think of reaching for when I'm going out sketching, except for I love the Chinese white. I always use the Chinese white because you can layer it over almost anything. It's the best layering pencil. And I also use the Sanguine in the Derwent drawing pencils a lot, but the rest of it, apparently we've got most of the ones I bought at home. I spoke to my sister. I live with my sister, and I spoke to her, and she said, yeah, we've got most of those. Yeah, but I kind of think of them as being her pencils, not sharing pencils. And so I got these for myself. So enough of me banging on. Let's start with the swatching. Chinese white that I've done over that marker because otherwise you wouldn't be able to see it. Then next up we have Solway green. I would actually call that a grey. So moody grey. Then wheat. That's almost the same as that. Warm grey in the warm grey in the Pit pens. I don't know whether I'm just being vague now or whether I have concussion. I'm going to be so paranoid about this concussion. Ink blue. I've got a lump on my head, like seriously. I think it's the hardest I have ever bashed my head in my life. Ink blue. Crag green. I was like on messaging my sister while I was in the store and telling her I was buying these pencils, and she said, did you get crag green? And I hadn't, so I went back to get it, and then she sent me a message too late saying, it doesn't matter because some of the other colours are very similar. So I got the crag green and the pale cedar, and they are very similar. You'll probably never ever need to buy the crag green and the pale cedar, and yet I did. So yeah, then this one is smoke blue. I just love this whole little palette. It's going to make for such moody little sketches. And last but not least, I love this guy. This is my new love, the chocolate in the Derwent drawing pencils. It's like the dark indigo in the luminance, Caran luminance pencils, which you know I love, but in brown. It's still got that really dark, almost black, and it's soft. One thing I found with the luminance pencils is the browns are really not good. Like, the browns are always a bit chalky and a bit like gritty. Gritty is the word I'm looking for. And so they're not nice to use, whereas this chocolate, it is like chocolate. Oh, smooth and rich and dark. Chocolate, I love you. I love you in food form. I love you in Derwent drawing pencil form. You are the best. So that was my art haul. And just to let you know, I don't know if I mentioned this, the Derwent drawing pencils were $2.35 each. They're normally $3.15, and I think because I bought more than 6 of them, a lot of the stuff at Blick Art Materials, you got cheaper if you bought more than 6. So because I bought more than 6 of those, I got them for the cheaper price. I also signed up for their mailing list, and I thought I was going to get a discount because of that, but apparently I didn't. And that's everything that I bought at Blick's. That will not be my only art haul while I'm in, I was going to say Japan. I'm not in Japan. Yeah, not my only art haul while I'm in New York. I've got a few other art stores on my list to visit. And so I might be having art haul number 2 coming up at some point while I'm here. I love this palette. Like, let me know in the comments what you think of this, like these 7 colors. 1, 2. It's actually 8 colors because I've got the white, but if you're interested in more about my trip to New York, I've got a video I did last week with my entire art kit I packed for the trip. So that's a good one to watch if you like this video. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I've got more exciting New York stuff coming up. So if you're not already subscribed, hit the like button. No, hit the subscribe button. And thanks for watching.